Hey guys, I'm going to do a little response to a video that I've wanted to respond to for a really long time. It's a video that I was actually made to see in school a little more than a year ago for digital citizenship or something like that. I think Common Sense Media promoted it or something. But it's about how video games, and I think Chris Reagan might have been a response to this, but it's about how video games apparently make boys violent. Yep, so let's get into the video. Oh, the sad music. This is gonna be so sad. What a sad situation.
Many of our examples of American masculinity, be it in sports, military, law enforcement, the entertainment industry, the men that men look up to. A lot of what they're teaching is domination, aggression. There are these hyper-masculine figures that we try to adhere to.
So let's look at some of those things. Law enforcement, military, sports, the entertainment industry. Okay, first of all of those things are things that women can do and are into. There are plenty of women, especially in the entertainment industry, but also there are women in sports, there are female police officers. Like, what are you talking about? And also, those things don't always involve domination. Sports involves so many other skills. Being a police officer involves so many other skills. Same thing with the military, same thing with being in entertainment. It's not just those skills. What are you talking about? Shut up.
Shut the fuck up. You're a fucking cunt. Too tough. Oh, we won't break. Dark side of the young pros. They blow and come back tenfold. We don't need ropes to climb the walls you build. Ideas and passion break the bricks with guilt. Man up, man up, man up, man up.
Okay, so that sequence there, I don't get what the point of that was, but I just want to say, if anything, that only weakens the argument, because that was actually pretty. I mean, like, what do we got? We got, like, Robert Downey Jr. in something, we got the Hulk, we got the Beast guy from X-Men, I think we got Wolverine there, so we got some X-Men stuff. What else we got? Oh, we got Idris Elba, I think. I saw him in there, and Idris Elba is awesome. We got, like, all these awesome, badass male characters in movies mostly, but also I think they had some MMA stuff and some rappers there, too. Oh, they also had Samuel Jackson. Samuel Jackson's awesome, too. But they also had, I was saying that song playing in the background, that Man Up, was kind of a jam. What else? Oh, I was gonna say, the one bad thing was Vin Diesel, though. Vin Diesel honestly deserves to be blown off the face of this planet. I hate him. Like, every single one of his movies, I'm like, why? I mean, honestly, I do want to do, because I'm a big film buff, honestly. I know everybody's doing a movie review channel at this point, but I want to do a movie review channel as a second channel at some point if I ever get the time, and just make a whole video about Vin Diesel and how terrible his movies are. But anyway, rant over. That sequence was pretty awesome, and that song was pretty awesome. So, congratulations, you just defeated your entire argument.
The average boy spends 40 hours a week watching television, sports, movies, 15 hours a week playing video games.
I'm sure there are plenty of girls who spend plenty of time in their entertainment. There are plenty of girls who like video games. There are tons of girls who like TV and movies. What's your point?
The predominant male archetypes that we see in film and television and other forms of popular culture are the strong, silent guy who is always in control and is not emotional.
Yeah, and those people tend to be pretty shitty actors. Anyway, Jokes aside, yeah, that is a common male archetype in action films specifically. We're talking action films here. Or sci-fi sometimes too. So congratulations, you noticed what a common action hero archetype is. That has nothing to do with real life. The whole point that the reason why that's an action hero archetype is because like they're going through things that wouldn't be there in real life, that are really adverse situations, so they kind of need to be emotionless for that. And again, those can be pretty bad actors. And bad character development, but that's the way it usually is.
And then we have the superhero character, the hero character, engaging in high levels of violence in order to maintain that control, in order to achieve whatever goal he has in front of him.
Well, it's true that a lot of superhero movies these days tend to be violent. They weren't always that way from what I understand. But yeah, a lot of superhero movies these days do tend to be violent, but it's not about control or whatever you're talking about. It's just because people like to see that on the big screen. That's why. Is that honestly all you notice about superhero characters? Like, the superhero characters always have the goal of saving the world or whatever. All you notice about the superhero characters is that they're violent. Oh, they're violent. I gotta focus on the fact they're violent. The only reason why they're violent is, again, because people like to watch that.
We also have the archetype of the thug, and this is predominantly men of color who are pigeonholed into much more violent roles.
Oh, you have to notice about how the color of their skin, oh, they happen to not be white. But it's not that they're pigeonholed into these characters. What are you even talking about?
And then we have the man-child, or the mook, which is the male who's in perpetual adolescence. His body doesn't typically have a lot of muscle, but he tends to project masculinity in other ways through the degradation of women, engaging in high-risk activities.
All they want to do is get laid. And of course, at the end, nobody gets anything because they get drunk, they take drugs. And there have been a whole rash of these movies recently that are funny. And so you're laughing at what you could become.
Hey, this is something that pisses me off, because they're basically hating on R-rated comedies. That is what they are hating on. Because R-rated comedies tend to revolve around this sort of plot. And R-rated comedies, when they're done well, and they're not just inappropriate joke after inappropriate joke for the sake of inappropriate jokes, when they're done well, they're funny. They're really funny, in my opinion at least. So they're saying, you're laughing at what he could become. What? The whole point, the whole reason why those characters in R-rated comedies are funny is because they're not normal, because people think like those characters that Will Ferrell will play, or that Jonah Hill will play or something. The reason why people think those characters are funny is because nobody actually acts like that in real life, because no guy is actually that childish. That's why they're funny. Does nobody realize this? Oh my god. And also they're like, oh, it's about the degradation of women, and about getting them drunk and stuff. So they have to add in the feminist thing, of course. But also, like, have these guys not seen Superbad? And I know everybody jokes that I sound like McLovin, but have these guys not seen Superbad? And how the whole message of that is that you shouldn't try to get people drunk and degrade people? Hello? A lot of these R-rated comedies do have messages behind them that are actually good messages that they just ignore for some reason because it doesn't fit their narrative.
Of course we know that media images have an effect on people's behavior. If there was no effect, the advertising industry would collapse. Because the advertising industry is based on the idea that media images will have an effect on people's behavior.
Okay, yes, he is right about this. There is an effect that media has on people's behavior, and advertising does make you want to go buy stuff. However, it does not follow then that the media then makes kids violent or degrade women or whatever. What are you even talking about? This is what I'm going to be asking the whole video. What are you even talking about? They just go from 0 to 100 and make these conclusions that make literally no sense at all.
The same kind of hypermasculinity that we see in Hollywood movies on television, they're the same kind of hyperviolence that we see in rap music and hip-hop culture. The stereotype of being violent and dangerous, selling drugs, oversexed. It's all about money, power, and respect. A lot of rappers are imitating what they see.
So yeah, a lot of rappers are imitating what they see. They see other rappers who are successful, and they imitate that to become successful. What's necessarily wrong with that? I mean, if that's what's the successful formula in rap, what's wrong with them imitating that? I mean, now a lot of people have been complaining that it makes the music bad, but what's necessarily wrong with that? Like, you're saying there's an inherent moral problem with that. As long as the music, as the quality of music is good, I don't even listen to rap that much, to be honest. But as long as the quality of the music is good, I don't really care. There's nothing wrong with that. What are you talking about?
As successful masculinity,
Violent video games reinforce the stereotypical structures of what a man should be. The typical game character tend to be white males with, it gets this specific brunette hair, 5 o'clock shadow. When an emotion sneaks in for a male character, by and large, it is anger. And any sort of grief is very, very underplayed and never actually discussed or processed. Kids end up really looking up to this character, and what they end up idolizing is someone who cannot express themselves emotionally, cannot be honest or open with anyone around them.
Again, the reason why the video game characters are like that, I'm sure they're cherry picking, I'm sure there are other characters that do different things than just that, but the reason why there's a lot of video game characters like that is because they are very much like the action movie heroes. They are in this very stressful situation, so they need to remain calm. That's why. And again, that doesn't necessarily provide good character development, but that's why it is the way it is.
When you play video games and you see the same kind of setup, it loses its impact on you.
Okay, I just need to say this. That man, as you will see on the things next to him, that is Dr. Philip Zimbardo. Dr. Philip Zimbardo, for those of you who don't know, was the man behind the Stanford Prison Experiment. The Stanford Prison Experiment. I've read books by him. He's a genius. He is a very brilliant man, but he has apparently been swept up in this ideology, and it's very sad. And I'm just looking at him like, oh, how the mighty have fallen. It's sad, because he's a very smart man. He engineered one of the most important psychological experiments ever, really. And I can kind of see why he might start to believe in this stuff, because he did see how seemingly innocent people could turn violent. But I really don't think video games could be the impetus for that, to be honest. And it's just a shame to see him sucked into this.
Because you habituate to the sameness. The video game companies know this, and they are giving you endless variety, a new category, a new challenge. You're moving up ranks. They are creating this arousal addiction. Boys' brains are being digitally rewired to this technology. Things happen like this, microseconds.
Okay, so Dr. Zimbardo does have a point that video games can indeed be addictive. There is evidence to provide that video games are addictive, and that's what video game companies probably, that's part of what they thrive on. But the fact that he's saying their brains are being rewired and habituated to the violence in microseconds, where are you getting that from, dude? You're brilliant. You're one of the most eminent psychological researchers. What are you doing?
The ones that are most addictive are the most violent, where your job is to destroy the enemy, to dominate.
If you don't have social connection and you don't have a lot of friends, or you have a crappy home life, you can escape into a game and you don't have to worry because you're saving the galaxy.
If your kid sits in front of a screen for 4 hours a day and shoots and kills in a repetitive, violent way hundreds of people, there's a good chance that kid is going to be impacted by that.
So here he's implying that if you kill people in a video game, that means you're going to want to kill people in real life. What? 99% of boys play video games. Oh my god. What a shocking statistic. I could never have guessed that, and that must somehow have some sort of significance. Oh my god. The video games contain violence. That must somehow be bad, right?
There's a reason the U.S. Army trains people for combat by using video games. It's because it gets them used to some of the experiences. Well, put your 10 or 11 or 12-year-old son in that context, but they're not going into Iraq or Afghanistan. And if they happen to live in a more dangerous neighborhood, or a neighborhood where they're exposed to violence more routinely than they might be in some fancy part of town, then that's going to be a bigger issue.
Okay, dude, calm down, really, calm down. First of all, I'm sure that the training simulations or the training games that the people training for the military use are not the same ones that kids play. Second of all, just because there's violence in those games doesn't mean the kids are going to be violent. Like, honestly, it's not real. 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 And it doesn't mean that the kids are going to want to be violent. How do you not realize this? So yeah, that was the end of this video, and it was terrible, even though I liked that sequence where they had that song playing in the background because it was catchy, it was a good song, and the sequences they had playing were good. Otherwise, the video was terrible, and I was especially disappointed to see that they had Dr. Philip Zimbardo in it. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.
Feel the funk blast.